we have got the amazing Ann Daniels on with us. Ann has been with me for 19 years and has been working to write the majority of these radio shows for Ann. How long?
Gracious, since 2021, late 2021, 2.5 years.
3 years into it, which is really, really amazing. She is our executive closings manager for the Modern Traditions Realty Group. She's a longtime employee, and she is a real savior to me in many, many cases. Let's talk about how you came to work for, at that time, it was called Gaddis Partners or Gaddis Group, or it was something like that.
I think it was just Gaddis Team.
Yeah, it was just me and my mother and a few other people. And you have to tell everybody the truth about what happened when you came in for an interview, because Mr. Cleveland Gaddis messed up, almost messed up. Tell everybody what happened.
So I was similar like your mother, who I absolutely adore, Jean Gaddis, being single, raising 3 kids, and I needed to get a full-time job and was teaching aerobics, and Marcy Rash said, you should go meet Jean Gaddis.
Yes, I remember.
So I reached out, and Jean asked me to come in for an interview. So I sat down for an interview. And then she asked me to come back in, and I sat down with Michelle Gaddis, and I had a litany of questions that I thought I answered well.
Yeah.
And then I believe I interviewed with you, and I didn't get hired, and I was devastated.
So wait a minute. So you met with Jean, she was in favor. You met with Michelle, she was in favor. Then you met with this Yahoo Cleve, and he's like, "Nah, we got to shut this plan down." So
because I didn't have no real estate experience.
Exactly, no real estate
none
experience,
at all.
And to be honest with you, Ann, at that particular time, not as nearly as much experience and familiarity with technology as you have today. And so, long story short, I said thanks, but no thanks, Ann. We'll pass. And then what happened after that?
Well, you called me, and when you called me and said, hello, this is Cleve Gaddis, I knew that you were supposed to call me about maybe joining the team and learning real estate. And you said things have changed, and can you come back in? And I came back in, and Jean Gaddis said, she is the bubbles in my champagne. I don't care what she does for us, but I want her on the team.
She still says that. She calls you Bubbles. Every time I mention your name, she calls you Bubbles. So we hired you, and that was in April, March?
May 15th,
the very beginning of May. May 15th, 2006. It's amazing. You've been with us a long time. So tell everybody just real quickly about your family. You actually live, and most people wouldn't know this, out of state. You live in North Carolina. And
I live in North Carolina right now.
Your family is all here in Metro Atlanta. So tell everybody real quickly, without giving away any names, what your family looks like, and then tell them about what you're most proud of, which I think is not the generation under you, but the generation after that.
Well, I have 3 kids, as you know, 2 boys and a girl. They're all married. They all own their own homes. They are very successful in their careers and their lives. And my oldest son has done 5 transactions with us over 8 years. So I'm very proud of him on that. But as you know, being a new grandfather and a new little girl coming along, having grandchildren is just the highlight of my life.
It just changes you.
I love to get my phone calls, videos, whatever.
All of your fun posts all feature the same thing. It's grandkids. Ann's like, I don't need to tell you about my life, but as soon as I'm with the grandkids, I am rock and rolling and ready to go. So for those who are possibly thinking about getting into real estate, you got in as an administrative employee for a real estate team. Kind of tell everybody a little bit about what that's like. I mean, like, what do you do? Because the agents are supposed to be out doing all the work, but in your case, you actually do a lot of the things for agents that agents would have to do on their own if they were by themselves or working on their own.
Well, as you know, when I first started, I was doing the listings with Jean. So, and I learned a lot from you. I don't know if you remember, but right before our team meetings, you used to sit down with me for an hour and teach me things about real estate and some of the technology I didn't know.
Yep, I totally remember
So I
that.
learned a lot about pricing homes, how they should look, how to talk to different, mostly sellers, based on their ages or what their needs were. So I learned a lot in that regard. And then as the market changed, we were great, then it went down. We dealt with all of that.
Yep.
We are a strong team, so we came back from it.
Yep.
And we started to grow.
And by that, do you mean everything was rolling along? Then we got into the recession. So then 2008 to 2012, we had a problem. And then 2013, we started bouncing back up.
And we started adding to the team.
Yep.
And as far as buyers agents and, getting more listings, because of course listings drive the buyers. And we just started to grow. And I ended up doing a little bit more office management work with you. And then I moved into doing more closings because, as you know, I got my license in order to be able to negotiate and talk about sellers' money, because you can't do that without the license. And I think I learned a lot from you, listening to you on the other side of the room about how you dealt with agents and, sellers as well, mostly. And now I do mostly the closings for the buyers and the sellers on behalf of the team.
But you do more than that on the deals that I'm involved in myself, and they're less than they used to be, but you do a lot of the negotiations and handle a lot of the inspection amendments and things like that.
Correct.
And honestly, I think you are every bit as good of a negotiator as I am, maybe even better. Most agents are really not very good at that. Would you agree with that, Ann, just based on what you see in the market? They're not very strategic in the way they negotiate back and forth with clients.
Correct. Yeah. And it's sometimes, I think, Cleve, that it's sometimes the agent, it's all about them.
Yes.
And it's not about who they're representing. So, and I think that I've been taught to represent the seller and their needs before what, the team needs.
Yeah, well, you got it. You have to do that. Okay, quick question. On a scale of 0% to 100%, what percentage of the agents would you say who are negotiating with you? And I'm not talking bad about agents, because I love a lot of the real estate agents out there, and some of them are very, very good. But what percentage of the agents would you say get in their client's way by making it all about them instead of all about the client? Just on a scale of 0 to 100%.
I'd say close to 75%, Cleve.
Yeah, and I would have probably said like 60%, but that probably is just because I was trying to be gracious to our host. The reality is a lot of people don't do what you need to do in order to learn, because it's not manipulative, but negotiating, you don't want to say more than you need to, but you want to say everything you have to. And as you've learned over the years, sometimes if you just start talking on one side and asking questions, the other side, the other agent on the other side, they will give up way, way more information than they should. For those of you who can't see her, she's on Zoom with me right now, and she was making talk with her hand. And it is so true. Sometimes you get them started and they just keep talking.
Yep, they do. And you learn a little bit more about that side of the transaction. So then you know how to best guide your side of the transaction, I think, is what I think I've learned.
Absolutely. One of the things I have to say about you is you are very systematic and detail oriented, and that's one of the things that I really appreciate about you, is that if it doesn't look right and the dots are not lining up correctly, I mean, you don't sit there and go, well, everything's okay. I mean, if it's not following the right system, then you're sort of sounding the alarm, saying, hey, wait a minute, the other party doesn't really look like they want to close, and so not moving forward. So what kind of made you, what is it about you that makes it where that kind of comes naturally to you? Because I think it does.
Oh, Lord, Cleve, I'm one of 9 children, and there's 7 girls, and I think my father taught us to speak our mind, stand up for what we believe in, and if you're wrong, you better know how to say I'm sorry. Yeah. So those are the 3 things my father taught me. But I just think that part of what we do as a team is to be honest and ethical. And I could never tell a lie. Yeah. I mean, I'm like George Washington, but I can't tell a lie. I have to be honest, even if it means that something is not what our side wants to hear.
Even if it's, that's exactly right. Even if you have to tell a seller or a buyer or something they'd rather not hear, it is way, way better to be open and honest with them. It's just way, way better. And by the way, you mentioned you got to know how to say you're sorry. And that is something that you and I have developed really good skills at over the years, because we both have strong personalities, and sometimes I rub you the wrong way, and sometimes it's vice versa. And we've really, learned over the years how to kind of give and take, and you're the yin, I'm the yang, or vice versa, and we just sort of figure it out. But what's it been like working for Cleve Gaddis for 19 years?
I have learned a lot. I've told people from the very beginning, Cleve, you are the smartest, real estate person I know.
Oh,
I mean,
thank you.
Your mom I dealt with on the listing side so much, but you have taught me so much in how to deal with the different sides of the transaction.
Yep.
And how to, I think, check myself.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you still help me do that.
And me.
You know, because there's no transaction that is the same. Period. I'm even learning more new stuff nowadays.
Isn't that so true that no two transactions are alike at all?